Good morning and welcome to Thriving in Business with me, Kirsty Waite. As normal, I'm coming to spend the next 15 to 20 minutes with you to share business tips, inspiration, and just general business chat. All about helping you to become intentional and creating a good, profitable business that feels good. So today, I'm joined by the lovely Louise Fernando. Welcome, Louise.
Hello, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here, Kirsty. I'm really excited.
Thank you. It's an absolute honour to have you. So, Louise is a mindset coach, and I met Louise while I was in another mastermind, and we have just completely clicked. And I can't wait for you to listen to all about her story and what she does. And she's just magical for businesses. So, Louise, do you want to share exactly what you do and give people a little bit of background about yourself?
Yep. Okay. So I am a mindset coach, but I work very, very much with energetics and with intuition and emotions, because I feel that these are so important when we're moving forward in our business and our lives. Because if we could master them, we can master so much more. Okay. Because our state and how we show up, how we navigate through situations and difficulties, and how we can navigate even through the good times and be present is absolutely such a necessity for your business. Mm-hmm. So my background is in social work, criminal justice, and that's where my fascination for the mind grew. Just seeing how different people in different entrenched situations with their mindset and how that affected their behaviour. And that's where really my fascination for mindset grew, because I seen people that were so stuck in their mindsets, and then once they broke through that, they were able to make huge transformations. So my background was, working with male offenders and then female offenders, a lot with complex trauma, and that's then paved where I am now. So I'm actually trained as a clinical hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner, energy psychology, Reiki practitioner, and in mindfulness. So quite a lot. So I use all of that in the work that I do with the women that I work with.
That's amazing. So because obviously it's so important that you to bring that to business as well, because when you talked about the women that you work with, you also work with businesses as well, because it's that energy and mindset is so important in business, because yourself, like, mindset is such a huge issue that if you haven't got it nailed or you're not working on it, it can hold you back so much. So when you created your business as it is, and you've brought all this amazing magic to it, how important is it that you create that? Because where you came from and what you do is very different. So when you go from criminal justice to bringing and helping businesses manage energy and mindset, how did you make that transition?
Okay, so what I started to see with a lot of the women that I was working with is that they were overwhelmed by everything that they had going on in their lives, whether that be their personal lives and business life, or they would be, they would be overwhelmed and seeking validation from other sources, like downloading freebies all the time, going in all the programs. They were doing all of that stuff and not really listening to what was going on within themselves. And it's when someone starts to really dive into themselves and they work with their own energy, their own emotions, and about what's coming up for them, then that's when they propel further, because they become more focused, they become more aligned. They realize, is this in alignment with my values? Is this in alignment with my emotions? Is this in alignment to my life? When that starts to shift for someone, they then no longer want to start downloading every free thing that comes along or attending every single masterclass that goes on. They have a knowing, because they trust in themselves. They trust that what they're doing, they trust in their own voice, they trust in their own abilities. They have a uniqueness that they start to tap into, and that changes the mindset so much, because then the self-belief comes. Mindset is so important. We can have as many strategies as we can, but if our mind is not there and our energy is not there and we're not aligned to that thing, it's not going to work.
It's the difference of internal and external validation, isn't it? And I think when because first of all, I've been there when you've been out getting the freebies, trying to on programs, but equally the people that I work with are there or have been there. Like, so I can totally relate. And it's the external validation of like, if I just do this, then that'll show me the way. If I just do that, that'll help me. But actually, it's taking a step back and going, it's in here that you need to be listening to, isn't it? And that's the key. And I think that's when you become so aligned. Like, being misaligned is uncomfortable and it's not a nice place to be. And that's when you're kind of out there looking for the validation. But that hard inner work leads to internal alignment, doesn't it? And I've been through that journey myself, so I can totally relate to that. But what about your journey then, Louise? Because you obviously have gone through that journey with your people you work with. Have you experienced that?
Yes, so many years ago, I would say about 15 years ago, I started to realize that my life was really, there was something within me that didn't feel right. The friendships that I was holding, the people that I was spending time with, there was something quite sticky about that. And I realized that something was amiss in my life. So I started to really place really good, strong boundaries in place for myself and for others, and started to see how that changed my life. Because not everyone likes boundaries, or they're not used to the boundary. So when we place a boundary in place, it becomes, oh, you've changed, this is happening, that's happening. But it's because when you start to honor yourself and you honor your own word and you honor who you are, that can change so much. So things propelled for me when that happened, when I actually stepped into my own powers and such, and started to really listen to myself, hold the boundaries, hold the space for myself. Things started to propel at a really fast rate. And what I've noticed is, at any point in my life and in my business, when I do that and I call upon the tools that I do use, things start to propel quickly. They really start to come in, and things start to magically, it's almost like magically open the door to many opportunities.
Yeah.
So when I started putting boundaries in place, when I started honoring my own word, and when I started to really listen to myself, my career changed, my life changed, my relationships changed, my relationship with myself changed, my relationship with my family changed, everything changed. And in hindsight, looking back, it was very much when I decided that I was taking action. I was going to be doing the things. You know, I didn't need someone to tell me I was good at something. I didn't need someone to validate to me that I was good enough, I was worthy enough, or, you know, because I knew deep down that I was good enough, I was worthy enough. And when when that belief came, that changed everything.
Yeah. What triggered that step? Because I see it time again, and like I say, I was there when you feel misaligned and you're just not happy with what you're doing and where you're going. So what was that trigger point for you to go, I need to take responsibility now?
It started when my children were very young. You know, I started to look at the environment that was in, the people that I was, you know, that were around me. And I remember thinking to myself, if I continue to stay where I am now, I'm never going to get out of here. There's never going to be a vision. And I started to create the vision. So the vision was always in my mind. I created this vision, and then I started to take action on the vision. So I always had the vision in mind, but I moved the steps towards that with the ultimate goal. And then the goal just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then things just expanded. I never stopped believing in that end vision. I kept going. So I think very much for me, it was when I realized that only me could move me forward. Only I could take the action. Only I had the answers, not someone else, not education or a program or employment or all of those things. They were part of the picture. They were part of the progress and part of the journey, but it was ultimately me that moved that.
I love that you had that vision that you were pulled towards, because I think visualization is so powerful, and it's something that I also work with my clients with as well, because I just think I always call it like your beacon of light. Like, if you got a beacon of light, like, it'll always show you the way. And I think if you're missing that, that's when you kind of get stuck, isn't it? Going off and you get lost and you lose your way a little bit, for sure. So what was the hardest bit for you on that journey then? Because like you say, like even the people that you're surrounded with weren't giving you positive energy. So you've gone on that huge transformational journey. What was the most difficult piece, do you think?
Taking the action and trusting in myself to take the action, like hearing the nudges coming through, and then almost like the ego saying to me, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. But then we outriding that and saying, no, you can, and doing it, and then reaping the results at the end of that, you know. And that goes for business as well. The business decisions that I've made when I've really allowed my, you know, asked my ego to step to the side and trusted in myself, I've had phenomenal results with clients. Clients have had phenomenal results. You know, there's phenomenal things happened in business. So, yeah, so that is really, and it can be scary.
Yeah. And that comes to your intuition, doesn't it? And allowing and trusting yourself to listen to yourself. And it can be scary for sure. Definitely. So back to where you are now in the wonderful business and people you help, because what I'm all about is creating a business that feels good, which is always alignment and always in tune with your values and your intrinsic values and beliefs. So how do you ensure that those values that you hold dear is your business is built around that? So how do you ensure that that business you're building feels really good and aligned?
Because I'm so in tune, I know when things feel sticky. So I know when something doesn't feel aligned, because I work really energetically and with emotions, I allow myself to feel those emotions, and I could feel within myself, like I don't suppress them. Years and years ago, I may have suppressed the emotion and either used alcohol or food or, you know, exercise or something like that to suppress what was going on. But now I sit with that feeling and I know, because I allow it to surface, I allow it to come up and through me. And working with that energy, the intuition and, you know, the emotions, I'm then able to know. I could step into a room and know whether it's aligned or not. There's many decisions that I've made on my business journey where I've maybe went into memberships or I've went into programs, and I've went in and thought, this isn't for me. And I've thought nothing of leaving, nothing of upsetting someone, because I think ultimately it's myself I'm upsetting. So by remaining stuck. So using all of those tools to create those values in my business, and asking myself on a daily basis, does this match this value? Am I being aligned? Am I being authentic? Is this with my intuition? Am I serving from a place of love? Is this mastery? Is this growth? Is this freedom? So really, really working with those values every single day.
And that's so powerful, isn't it? And it comes back to it's simple but not easy. So it's all you're doing is allowing yourself space and time to reconnect with what you want and listening to you, which doesn't cost money. It takes time and it's hard. But it's one of those things that it's simple but not easy to do. So if someone's listening and they're like, how do you do that? Because quite interestingly, when you mentioned like you covered it with like alcohol and like completely I've been there and gone, oh, I've got this feeling that's really not right, but I'm just going to like put it in this box and just continue. And if I work harder, it'll go away. And it never does. It always comes back to bite you in the bum. And so if someone's listening and they kind of like, how do I start to listen to my intuition, Louise? What advice would you give them?
So, and I see this a lot with the women that I work with. They're so busy. They always say to me, I don't have time. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time.
Yeah.
We don't often have time, but we have to make time for what's important. And if we make the time to listen to ourselves, and we listen to ourselves on a daily basis, and we create that slowness and pace in our body, it's going to save us time in the long run. Because you may enter into something and deep down you know that it's not for you, but you work harder, you try harder. Oh, I'll just give it another few months and I'll see how this goes. I'll just give this to the end of the week and see how this goes. if we were to go back and really listen to ourselves and really, really be in tune with what's going on, we would know that that's not the right business decision for us, or that's not the right client, or the energy is not there, and we would save ourselves so much time, so much money, so much inner dialogue.
Yeah. And once it's like momentum, isn't it? Like once we start saying no to things, like you're showing the universe and everyone what you are open for, and it's not just open for everything. You're open to what's aligned, and that kind of builds momentum, doesn't it? Because once you've done it and start to do it, it feels so good that you're like, why have I not been doing this for years? And it's like, it's just once you start, it becomes easier, I think.
It does, and it's a practice, it's a skill, it's something that we don't just learn to be intuitive and then, I tap into my intuition now. It's something that requires it. I always say this to clients, it's like going in the shower every day. We don't just wake up on the 1st of January and say, I've had a shower for the year and that's me done, I'm going to be clean all year. What we're inevitably saying is that I'm clean for today, but tomorrow we start over. Tomorrow we need to build this practice, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And this is a promise I make to myself. I make to myself, I make to my clients, I make to everyone that's in my world, because if I don't, then that's when things start tumbling down.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's those little daily steps, isn't it? And I hope you don't mind me saying this, but we've both quit alcohol at the moment, haven't we? And how much do you think, well, I'm speaking from personal experience of like, instead of dealing with what's going on and listening, you just think, I just need a glass of wine and that'll work. If I have a glass of wine tonight, I'll just forget about it and relax. Like, how often do you see that kind of behavior? I imagine it's quite common, is it?
Very frequent. So what I see is a lot of women, because let's be right, some of us don't want to feel things because it's painful or it's hurtful, or we're not ready to accept the truth. We're not ready to hear what is law. So we will then, or I have used in the past, I've used alcohol or sugar, or, exercise as a way of numbing what's going on and not really truly listening, because what happens when we do that is we're pushing it down, we're suppressing it, and it might come up in certain ways in the body. We may start to experience anxiety, stomach problems, even things like IBS, even things like physical pain and things like that. So when we're pushing all these things down, we're actually suppressing what's really going on. And it will just keep coming up. And what I see is a lot of people pushing it down. And it's not until we start to release those emotions and release what's going on, or listen to ourselves, that we can really make the progress. So as you know, at the beginning of the year, on the 31st of December, I had an intuitive nudge to give up alcohol for 12 months, and I've no idea where it come from. No, well, I do. It's come from higher self. And I remember at 9 o'clock that night, everyone else was drinking, and I remember holding the bottle of Prosecco thinking, I'm not going to do this anymore. This is not, I'm going to go a whole year. And that was the decision made.
Yeah.
I've also given up chocolate. So that's been almost 4 weeks with no chocolate.
Yeah. And how do you feel from that? How's that manifested into your business? How's that changed things?
Energetically really clean, because there's not an overriding of emotions. We're not on the sugar high or the alcohol low, or all of that. So I just think these things don't come hand in hand with success.
I agree. And from my experience, and I did 4 months last year, and then I drank over Christmas, and then I've stopped again. It's the focus. It is like, I feel so sharp, and there's no hangover into the week where you come into your business and you're kind of feeling like, right, it's that slow mind of like, what's going on? Like, what am I doing? Literally Monday morning, bang, I'm just like, right, what am I working on? And I'm there, I'm in the present. And I feel like that's a significant change for me, to the point where, and I love a glass of wine, like I genuinely do enjoy drinking, to the point where I could quite easily never go back to feeling like that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so I think the impact is so significant on me at the moment and how I feel. And when I quit drinking last year, I felt exactly the same. But yeah, it's a huge impact.
For me, it's more. I always believe in walking my talk. So I always believe if I'm asking clients to look at their awareness and their mindset and their emotions, their energy, then I like to step into that role as well.
Yeah.
So when we're giving up the alcohol, or when we're giving up the chocolate, or when we're giving up these things to propel ourselves, it's about making conscious decisions.
Yeah.
And when we're more consciously making decisions, then we're making them from a place of knowing, as opposed to making them from a place of numbing, where we're not truly, really listening to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I could talk all day on that.
I know, it's so powerful. Like I genuinely, I agree for sure. So let's talk a little bit more about what you're doing and the projects, because I'm incredibly excited that you're part of my current program. Aren't you? You've supported me in my Line for Success program. And the last time I ran it, you weren't part of it, but this time you're quite a heavy part of it, because I am a huge believer, and that my whole business is built on my purpose, mindset, and strategy. And the whole mindset piece is so powerful in business, as you know, and helping people that come through my program manage their energy, because energy is so, so important. And the mindset is really key for me. So taking people through a journey and a transformation and not looking at this is like missing a piece of the puzzle. So it was really important to me this time to get an expert in there. And whilst I have that knowledge and experience, I am not on the level of you as being the expert. So I'm so excited to have you part of that. So that's super cool.
I know, I'm really, really excited, because you're right. It's, strategy and mindset. We can incorporate mindset into the strategy, but this is on a deeper level. This is looking at energy. It's looking at, what reoccurring patterns are coming up in your business. What reoccurring behaviors and habits have you incorporated? What could be changed? What's going on unconsciously? What could be brought to the conscious side? What could we be doing more of? So I'm really, really, really excited to be bringing this into the program as well. So exciting.
So anyone that joins us on this program, you will get to spend time with the lovely Louise and experience her magicness. So that's so cool. So what about the future of your business then? So what else is going on for you? What does this year hold for you?
Okay, so for me, this year holds, I am looking at different ways of, people being more accessible to my business. I'm looking at smaller programs, larger group programs, and of course my one-to-one program that I currently run at the moment. So awesome. Yep, I have currently freebies on self meditations and things like that, but there's going to be more of that coming. There's more exciting stuff coming this year.
Awesome. And I always ask my guests that if you were to share a piece of advice with your younger self, what would it be?
Not to worry or care about what anyone thinks of you, just to actually trust in your own magic.
Yeah. Trust in your own magic. I love that. We've all got our own magic.
And we do. We're so unique. I think there's so many women out there looking at other people and not really realizing the skills and the skill set that they have that is unique and is different. And that's what makes you stand out. Yeah. Not being the same, but being different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And owning it.
Absolutely, for sure. Awesome. I love it. So if people listening would like to come and find you, where can they find you? Where's the best place to come and find you?
Okay, so I have a Facebook group called Empowering Women to Rise, and I'm also on Instagram under Louise Fernando, and my website is www.louisefernando.com.
Perfect. I'll put the link to your group in the chat when we're done. And I'll also share the group program that's currently open if anyone's interested. But thank you so, so much, Louise. It's been lovely chatting to you. And I hope everyone listening loves you as much as I do and got a lot out of that. And head over and follow Louise if you want some magic in your life. That's what I'm saying. So have a good day, and thank you again, Louise.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Take care.